Hello everyone, welcome to Micro and Radar lecture series. So in this session, we are going to discuss the rectangular waveguides, the modes of transmission of electromagnetic waves through these rectangular waveguides, also some important definitions like cutoff frequency, phase velocity, etc., and its dimensions. So earlier, I have made one video that in that case I have covered these some simple topics of the microwaves, also the transmission lines, the basics of waveguides. Okay, also there are some types of waveguides like rectangular waveguide, which is very popular, again circular waveguide, etc. So today we are going to discuss the rectangular waveguide. So we can see there are two images. The image shows that the aperture, or we can say output, or the opening of this waveguide has a rectangular cross section. Okay, so both the images we can see that there is a rectangular cross section at the opening of rectangular waveguide. So the definition shows that a rectangular waveguide is a hollow metallic tube with a rectangular cross section, okay, which is shown in this figure, both the figures. So it has rectangular cross section. The conducting walls of the waveguide confine the electromagnetic fields and thereby guide the electromagnetic waves. Okay, so these waveguides, as the name indicates, which is used to guide the electromagnetic waves, or we can say microwaves, during the transmission through it. So the basic aim of these waveguides, which is used to transmit or guide, or we can say somewhat attenuate, or we can say it is also works as a high pass filter for the microwave or the rectangular wave. So the rectangular waveguides is basically characterized by its dimension, that is length A and the breadth B. So we can see there is a horizontal length is given, which is shown by length A, and the vertical breadth is given, which is shown by small b. So please remember, these are very simple images of this rectangular waveguide, and as the name indicates, it has a rectangular cross section, and the conducting walls of those waveguides are confined to the electromagnetic field. Like I have told you earlier, in the electromagnetic waves, as its name indicates, it has electric field also and magnetic field also. So both these fields can travel through this electromagnetic wave, and this can be guided by these waveguides. So this is the one of the most important device in the microwave engineering, which is used to carry this electromagnetic wave and the guide the electromagnetic wave. So please remember its simple construction, its diagram for the rectangular waveguide. Let's move forward. So waveguide propagation modes depend on the operating wavelength and the polarization also, and the shape of and size of the guide. So basically the transmission, or we can say waveguide, can be guided to the particular electromagnetic waves, which is totally depend upon the operating wavelength of the microwave and the shape and size of the waveguide. Also there is a one concept, that is polarization of the wave. I will tell you the separate definition of this polarization in the next topic. So please remember, these are the various and the most popular functions of these waveguides and the traveling mechanism of the microwave through these waveguides. That is, it is totally depends on operating wavelength first, then the polarization. Okay, polarization is how the wave can be oriented towards the particular direction through the particular source. Okay, orientation of the wave we can say, and the next is the dimension of the waveguide, that is shape and the size of the guide. So the modes of waveguides are typically classified into following types. So we can see there are three types of modes, that is TE modes, which stands for transverse electric, then TM modes, which is transverse magnetic, and TEM mode, which is transverse electromagnetic. So if you remember my last lecture, I have covered the one topic which was very important, that is the difference between waveguides and transmission lines. So in the case of transmission lines, it supports TEM modes, okay, because it has two conductor structure, okay, but in the case of waveguide it has only one conductor structure, so that this the number 3 modes, that is TEM mode, which is transverse electromagnetic mode, it doesn't support the TEM wave, okay. So please remember, waveguides don't support this type of modes, okay. Which is that mode? That is TEM mode. The waveguide only supports TE modes and TM modes, which are transverse electric and transverse magnetic. So let's see what is meant by TE mode, which is transverse electric. The definition shows that TE modes have no electric field component in the direction of propagation. That means towards the direction of propagation there will be no electric field component, okay. So in the case of TM mode, that is transverse magnetic, it has no magnetic field component in the direction of propagation, okay. So when the waves is oriented towards the particular direction or towards the receiver, there will be no magnetic field component in the direction of propagation. So this is in the case of TM mode, and in the case of TE mode there is no electric field component in the direction of propagation. So these are very simple definitions for these types of modes, or we can say propagation of this microwave through the waveguide. Then the last mode, which is TEM mode, that is transverse electromagnetic. It have neither electric nor magnetic field component in the direction of propagation, okay. So towards the direction of propagation there will be no electric field and magnetic field components. Likewise, I have said earlier, this type of the waveguides doesn't support the TEM mode. So please remember, there are basically three types of modes. Among these three modes, TE and TM modes is supported by the waveguide, but TEM mode, it does not support that type of modes. It only supported by the transmission lines. So please remember, these are the basic difference and the various definitions of the simple propagation modes. Now we'll move forward. So detailed definition is the given regarding the types of modes. Please remember, each and every definition it always asks in the examination, okay. And totally microwave engineering is depend on this type of modes. If you haven't got that modes, you will not get any equipment or the component which is used to transmit these microwaves and also its analysis. So please remember, and the conditions for these transmission modes. Let's see the first mode, that is TEM mode, which stands for transverse electromagnetic wave. So in this mode, both the electric and magnetic fields are purely transverse to direction of propagation. Transverse means towards the perpendicular, likewise we can say. So in this mode, both the electric and magnetic fields are purely transverse to direction of propagation, okay. So there are no components in z direction, okay. Likewise we can say that there is a z direction, it is the direction of propagation of the wave, of the electromagnetic wave. So towards this z direction there will be no electric field and magnetic field, or we can say both the fields, electric and magnetic fields, are purely transverse or perpendicular to the direction of propagation, okay. They are not to the direction of propagation. So this TEM wave stands for transverse electromagnetic wave, and it has an equation, that is there are two components, electric field and magnetic field. So electric field components towards the direction z, which is shown by capital E Z, and the magnetic field component towards the direction of z or towards the direction of propagation we can say, so it is denoted by H of z. So likewise, according to definition, both the fields are purely perpendicular to the direction of propagation. So we can take that the formula Ez is equal to 0 and Hz is equal to 0. Then the next definition is TE, which stands for transverse electric wave. So in this mode, electric field is purely transverse to direction of propagation, okay, whereas magnetic field is not. That means electric field is purely perpendicular towards the direction of propagation, okay, or we can say there will be no electric field component towards the direction of propagation of the wave. So these are the various definitions for the TE wave. So likewise the formula becomes Ez is equal to 0, okay, because it is directly perpendicular to the direction of propagation, or we can say there will be no electric field component towards the direction of propagation. So ultimately Ez is equal to 0 and H of Z which is not equal to 0, because there is a magnetic field which has the direction of propagation, okay. So for the TE mode or TE wave, Ez is equal to 0 and Hz is not equal to 0. Similarly, the last one is TM, transverse magnetic wave. What ultimately shows that? It shows that the magnetic field is purely transverse to direction of propagation, okay, that means it is perpendicular to the direction of propagation, or there will be no magnetic field component in the direction of propagation. So whereas electric field is not. So ultimately what is the formula? There will be electric field component in the direction of propagation. So ultimately Ez is not equal to 0, but there will be no magnetic field towards the direction of propagation. So H of Z is equal to 0. So I think you got these three simple definitions, or we can say simple modes of transmission through this waveguide. Please remember these three simple conditions for the transmission of this wave and the important formulas, that is Ez is equal to 0 and H of Z is equal to 0 for TEM. For TE, Ez is equal to 0 but H of Z is not equal to 0, and TM mode, Ez is not equal to 0 but Hz is equal to 0. So we will move forward. There is one another type of wave which is HE, which is nothing but the hybrid wave. So the definition shows that in this mode neither electric nor the magnetic field is purely transverse to direction of propagation. So ultimately the equations become Ez is equal to not 0 and H of Z is equal to not 0. So waveguides are single conductor lines that allow TE and TM modes but not allow TAM mode, which is I have described it earlier. So open conductor guides support hybrid wave. So if you have open conductor in the guides, then it can support the hybrid type of waves, that is Ez is equal to not 0 and H of Z is equal to not 0. Okay, so please remember these four types of modes, its definition and its simple equations which is related to the propagation of electromagnetic wave through the waveguide. Again we will move forward for the one of the most important point, important definitions, we can say the important definitions for the waveguides or the transmission of electromagnetic wave through the waveguide. So the first definition shows that the phase velocity, the definition shows that phase velocity is the rate at which wave changes its phase in order to undergo phase shift of 2 pi radians. So it can be understood as a change in velocity of the wave or the wave component of a sine wave when modulated. So the definition shows that it is the rate at which wave changes its phase, okay, the wave changes its phase in order to undergo phase shift of 2 pi radians. So according to definition, the rate of phase change is equal to 2 pi, then it can be considered as a lambda by t. So V is equal to lambda upon t. As we know, the lambda is the wavelength and t is the time. So we can put 1 by f is equal to t. So V is equal to lambda by t, which can be also be written as lambda into f. Okay, so this is the formula for V is equal to lambda by f in terms of frequency. Now if we multiply numerator and denominator by 2 pi, then the equation become, the last equation, V is equal to 2 pi f divided by 2 pi upon lambda, which is ultimately omega upon beta. So this is the final equation of the phase velocity. So the equation becomes V suffix p, this p stands for phase, is equal to omega upon beta. So please remember, this is one of the important equation for this phase velocity and also its definition. Next definition is group velocity. So what is the group velocity? The definition shows that group velocity can be defined as the rate at which wave propagates through the waveguide. Okay, so this is very simple definition, that it shows that what is the rate of the particular wave propagation through the waveguide. So this can be understood as the rate at which a modulated envelope travels compared to the carrier alone. So this modulated wave travels through the waveguide. The simple equation becomes, as it is a change, okay, so there will be V suffix g, g stands for group velocity, d omega by d beta. So only there is a change in the rate in the propagation. So only slightly change as compared to phase velocity and group velocity. I think you got these simple equations for these two simple definitions. So please remember these important equations for the phase velocity and the group velocity. We will move forward, that is the cutoff frequency. So there is little bit descriptive point is given. So what is this cutoff frequency? The cutoff frequency of electromagnetic waveguide is the lowest frequency for which a mode will be propagate in it. Okay, so it has a lowest frequency for which mode will be propagate through the waveguide. So in the fiber optics, it is more common to consider cutoff wavelength, the maximum wavelength that will propagate in the optical fiber or the waveguide. So below this cutoff frequency, the waveguide is unable to support power transfer along its length. Likewise, ultimately what it shows that the waveguide acts as a high pass filter. Okay, so all the frequency signal which is higher than this cutoff frequency can be transmitted through this waveguide. Okay, so in order to carry signals, a waveguide needs to be able to propagate the signals, and this is dependent upon the wavelength of the signal. If the wavelength is too long, then the waveguide will not operate in the mode whereby it can carry the signal. So cutoff frequency depends on the dimensions. Likewise, we have seen in the view of mechanical constraint, this means that waveguides are only used for microwave frequencies. Okay, this is one of the most important point for the cutoff frequency. So as a very rough guide to the dimensions required for the waveguide, the width of waveguide needs to be same order of magnitude as the wavelength of signal being carried. So please remember, these are the some descriptive points and the important definition of the cutoff frequency. So according to this definition, we came to know that waveguides acts as a high pass filter, and it allows only frequency which are higher than the cutoff frequency. Okay, we will quickly see its formula. So rectangular waveguide cutoff frequency formula, which is given by small fc is equal to c upon 2a. As we know, fc is rectangular waveguide cutoff frequency in hertz. Small c is nothing but the speed of light within the waveguide, and small a is the large internal dimension of the waveguide in the meters. So this is very simple equation for the cutoff frequency, which is given by fc is equal to c upon 2a. We will quickly move for the one important equation for the power handling capacity of the rectangular waveguide. So likewise, we can say there is one equation, that is P max, that is maximum power, is equal to 27 into capital ED divided by F max under root of 1 minus F upon FD upon F square into, which is measured in the watts. So where capital ED is dielectric strength of the insulating material, F max is the maximum frequency in megahertz, F is equal to operating frequency, and Fc is equal to TE mode cutoff frequency. So this is one of the important formula for the power handling capacity of the rectangular waveguide. We can say that it is mostly depend upon the dimensions of the waveguide and the operating frequency and the cutoff frequency. So all these parameters is taken in the account to calculate the maximum power handling capacity of the rectangular waveguide. I want to show one table for your references also, that is the standard dimensions of the rectangular waveguide, okay, and it is defined by the Electronic Industries Association, that is EIA. So we can see one table which shows that EIA designation, the waveguide designations are given like WR284, WR187, 137, etc. Its usable frequency range is given, that is in the gigahertz. Of course, the first one has a 2.60 to 3.95 gigahertz. Likewise, its usable frequency range is increasing. Also, its inner dimension length is also given in breadth into length equation, and it is given in the inches. Attenuations is also given. So what is attenuation in terms of decibels the particular waveguide provide, and peak power capacity in kilowatts is given. So this is for your reference, that is how waveguide's dimension can be changed, and according to dimensions its frequency also change, also peak power handling capacity is also change. So if you observe, if the usable frequency range is more, that is in the last row for the WR42, it is handling 18 gigahertz to 26 gigahertz. Then the peak power handling capacity is low, that is 43 to 58 kilowatts. So there is a basic relationship which has a usable frequency range and the peak power capacity, and also there is a slightly change in the attenuation also. If the frequency handling range is more, then the attenuation is also more, but ultimately it can handle lower power of the microwaves. So if you want to prepare for this, you can go for this table. This is for your reference, that is the standard dimension of the waveguide. So this is all for the today's session. Please remember the today's point, that is we have seen the dimensions of the waveguide, its power handling capacity of the rectangular waveguide, along with that the definitions of the propagation, that is cutoff frequency, group velocity and the phase velocity. Then 3 types of modes, 3 to 4 types of modes, its equation, simple equations, and this is basic structure of the waveguide. So thank you for this session. In the next session we will see the next type of waveguide, which is circular waveguide. Okay, thank you all, thank you so much.